Greetings. Today we will be looking at some funny portal shenanigan. One which is a direct upgrade to the system of the concentratinator. And it is none other than what people have been calling runes. So first, let's hop on to battleships. And delete some structure because I want a lot of room. I'll also remove it. Nobody needs this anyway. And I'll just be building... Oh, it's dead. We'll go away. And I will be building in the most stable way possible. So here is how I do it. And then you can go ahead and do it for the other half. So why is it a direct upgrade to the concentratinator is because first it's all set to grid, it snaps to grid. It's really easy to replicate, you don't even have to know what you're doing, it's just much easier if you do know what you're doing. It's scalable, so you can make a lot more lasers, and I should do this one to the left. And yeah, it focuses a lot as well. So first, let's build our laser platform. So let's first do just one set of lasers, and a portal will go... Okay, this is not very stable, let's do it more stable. This is still not ideal, but whatever. Well, first it will just be a proof of concept. Let's go ahead and second layer of this. We'll eventually need a third layer, but so far I don't. Okay, so you have your input portal, and what you will want to do is just use a smaller portal first, and then use a diagonal portal. And so how runes work is basically just using diagonals, because diagonal portals are not 2 grid square longs, but like 2 times square root of 2, which is like 2.8 or something square long. So it's a good ratio to go to focus more. And so easy, you just go orange to orange, so to the right, to this one. Then we'll want to do the other rotation. So this one will be connected to this one, orange to orange to go to the next one. And for simplicity, I will just put my output here. So blue to blue, fine. So now, can you please give me right camera angle? I'll go for this one. So the idea is that whenever it enters this portal, the lasers will be rotated, so they will not enter straight this direction, they will enter this way. So they will come out from this portal in this direction because of the rotation. So if you see that this portal right here is rotated from this at a small angle, the lasers incoming will also be rotated the same amount. So they go straight through this portal. Since they are straight, you can just take the output to be like this. Now, why are runes so interesting is because they can be made so you can actually have both sides of your input portal be used. So let's demonstrate that right now by building a second laser support platform. And now I will actually need some good support for this portal to be stable. This should be good enough. Let me that same way for the other side. And we'll connect here. And you want it to be as aligned as possible and connect. this should be good enough. So if you're using both sides, you will want blue to blue and orange to orange. You don't care about the order, it's fine, because it will go both ways anyway. So you basically just do the symmetry part. And so since this one is connected to this one, for the symmetric you'll just be this one and connect that way. So if you need to have few takeaways from this video, is that whenever you make runes, the diagonal shape, like the diagonal diamond part, the exterior portal connects to the farther one here, and the closest goes to the closest as well. So for now, let's just forget this, and you'll see that now both sides of the input can be used properly, and I will just go ahead and do this. And all the lasers are focused and go through this single output. And so it's basically the same principle. Just take this, the lasers go rotated inside this one, they will be rotated when outgoing this one, and so they will go straight into this one. And so now, yeah, okay, that's the smallest rune to use both sides of one input portal. But you can do way more. So first, let's imagine that now this is a second input portal, or you have a second one that's like above or anything. Now let's use it, and let's say we want to use both inputs from the right and left as well. So once again, we'll just do some more symmetries. So we'll just copy this, and instead of, well, let's do the naive thing first. Okay, the naive thing would be to connect the same way. So actually, let's just rotate it so I can do it like this. So far to far, close to close. And so now we have two new inputs, I guess. And so I could go to the same contraption again, but there is a funny way to make it way more efficient. We can actually reuse this output portal here. So to do so, far to far, close to close, orange to inside, blue to inside, perfect. And now, let's use this portal and use this contraption once more. And so you don't care about which direction it goes here. All you need to understand is that when the lasers will input this portal, they will be straight. And so they will be outgoing straight from this portal in both directions, since they are inputting from both directions. And so they will output into these two portals in a 45-degree angle this way. And since they are parallel to this portal, you can just input one here, and this will be your new output. And so blue is the bottom part, it goes to blue here, that's great. And now, and to demonstrate that it does work for both parts, I can just do that and sweet! Now let's say you are insane, and you should be because you're watching these videos to start with. You might want to go for 4 input portals and not just a puny 2. So just for quick numbers, for 1 input portal you can have 6 lasers, or 8 with Shakano. With 2 inputs you can have 12 lasers, or I guess 16 with Shakano. And so with 4 you can double that once more, which is very funny and most likely should destroy any battleship in the opposing direction. But first, to do that, I will need a 3rd layer. So I will redo this from scratch, and so you can follow along to see how it's done from start. And don't worry, it won't be too hard. Just some funny portals. And there is another optimization by Dragon, which makes it a tiny bit more efficient, which is really nice. So first, let's take the first input. And it's easy when making these to do it step by step, like 1 input at a time. So first input, you do your classical thing. And actually, I won't be doing this here, I will do it here, for some later reason that you will understand later. Far to far, close to close, orange to inside, orange to inside. I need to be facing this portal. Second input. So this is just the same thing as before. You can just do that. Far to far, close to close, orange to inside, orange to inside. And now, well, you will want to have 2 extra inputs. So build 2 extra inputs. As easy as that. And obviously these inputs will map to this portal here instead, because they will be 90 degrees from the 2 others. So now you have 2 inputs like this that are using both sides. So you can basically just rebuild the whole contraption I did like a couple minutes ago, but instead you will actually reuse this portal right here to do this. And since it's this portal and it's far to far, you will do close to close, like this. And here is the small triangle that you can recognize if you understand how these runes are starting to work. And so you can do the other part with far to far, close to close. Just make sure that the directions are correct. Blue to inside, orange to inside, blue to inside, perfect. And same trick as before, this will map here, don't matter which direction, and this will map to your output. And also blue to blue, perfect. And those 2 you can just map here, and you don't worry about which direction since both are used. So now let's try. First input, second input, third input, and fourth. And you can see that all the shots were reasonably aligned, and any misalignment would come from either your input portals or small misalignments in the grid when you're building this. And because it's going a 3rd layer, there is a tiny amount of compression. You can see there is like 1 pixel down compression here, so it's not perfectly aligned. But it should be perfect for any use. I mean, who will reasonably build this in the game? I don't know. But if you just want one quick takeaway from this video, it's that the simplest design, which will still be useful in regular games, would be this one. You can just have one input, be used both sides, and have this. That's not too hard to make. And if you even don't want to have the other side, you can just forget about it, forget this, and just make sure that the directions are good, and the output is wrong, because it can be, that's fine. And you don't need to concentratinate those, you can if you want, but since there are the square root of 2 ratio twice, it basically does a small amount of focus. And I mean, if I want, I can just show what 3 lasers does to a battle chip. It's not anything extravagant, but it's always this. Yeah, that's some nice damage. And obviously, one thing I like to do instead of 3 plasmas is 1 fire beam and 2 plasmas. And the way you do this is that you take this one as the leader of the group, and then you group. And when you want to initiate your firing sequence, what you do instead of just left clicking is you do a right click for the fire beam alone, and then without moving your mouse, you will left click for the 2 plasmas. And that's basically as good damage as it gets. And I mean, if there was only wood spam in the other direction, you could just go for full fire beams, and it's basically better, but it depends. Okay, so I hope you have learned a couple of things about runes and how portals work in general. And yeah, feel free to have some fun in multiplayer games. Bye.